of the wealth that the child is owed. And what they would do is they would throw out the orphan and they would keep the wealth for themselves. An orphan this happened to an orphan at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and this orphan went and saw the Prophet ﷺ, and he complained about this ill treatment that he faced by the person by the person that he was entrusted to. The Holy Prophet ﷺ went to him and to these people, and he said, "Do you not fear Allah on the last day?" These people began to make fun of the Day of Judgment at that time. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, he became sad, he became dejected. And in response to it, the first part of this surah had come down. The next ayah, فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ, that is he who drives away the orphan. The third ayah, وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَىٰ طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ, and does not urge the feeding of the needy, in that he devours wealth of the orphans and oppresses them. Had he remembered about his own helplessness on the Day of Judgment, he would have not oppressed orphans and helpless people. From this, two issues are emerging. Oppressing orphans is a sign of rejecting the Day of Judgment, and hence this has been mentioned with it. Even with infidels are duty bound to social affairs. The Islamic head of state will force them to stay away from oppression, robbery, etc. And they would be punished for these criminal acts in the hereafter as well. So even non-Muslims, even people that aren't Muslim, are bound by a certain code of ethics, by a certain moral guiding principles. They cannot lie, they shouldn't lie, they shouldn't steal, they shouldn't kill, they can steal, and they can lie. And in this world, certain criminal acts like this, you can be punished with by governments. But the Quran is also saying that these deeds are also punishable on the Day of Judgment. These individuals that take wealth from orphans, they also are considered to reject the Day of Judgment. They believe that they are not going to die. They believe that they can do as they please, they can take as they please, and they will never be questioned for it. They believe that when they die, nothing happens after that. That is why they take. That is why they take without question, and they take without any hesitation. The next ayah, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, so curse be to those offering salah. It means neither does he give charity nor allows the people to do so. And in fact, he stops them from doing so. From this, we understand that stopping people from giving charity through pretentious means is the practice of Abu Jahl and those like him. We have a lot of people that question when we do Milad Sharif and when we do Gyarvi Sharif and when we host anniversaries for beloved people of the religion, and they stop people from donating into these aspects. We always mention this ayah, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. If the action is good, and if people are giving to these causes, we should never stand in their way. We should take money out of our pockets and also donate. We should always promote donation in any action that is good, be it Milad Sharif, be it Gyarvi Sharif, be it any sort of commemoration of a wali, be it any sort of masjid project. We should always be giving in the way of Allah. The next ayah says, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ, who are neglectful of their salah. This ayat is very, very important for each and every single one of us. These verses were revealed in Medina Sharif. In Makkah, when the Prophet was spreading the religion, he had very few believers. And those believers were known to be pure believers. In Medina, he had a lot of people coming into the fold of Islam at once. And this caused a lot of people to accept because of social status, or because this person accepted, so I have to accept. They weren't 100% true believers. So this ayah is referring to those people. This is the part of the surah that is considered Madni. The first half was revealed in Makkah, and this half was revealed in Medina. These verses were revealed in Medina Sharif regarding the hypocrites like Abdullah ibn Ubay, who would sometimes perform salah with total lack of devotion and love, not out of belief, but in order to show others that he is performing salah. the worshippers in this ayah, they are termed as musalli. It is meant that those worshippers who only pose as worshippers, they're not real worshippers, they are pretend worshippers. It should be remembered that those essentials of salah which are performed through our postures and the correct conditions are the postures of salah. Fear of Allah Almighty and humility, which are works of our heart and a condition for acceptance, is the very essence of salah. We often say we should be performing salah with ihsan, with khushu, with excellence and with focus. That isn't because we want to perform a salah that covers everything that we are taught for in salah. We don't want to perform salah to pray Surah Fatiha perfectly, Surah Nas perfectly, stand in ruku perfectly, say our tasbih perfectly. Rather, we are in namaz to communicate with our Rabb. The time that we take to perform namaz is the best time in the entire day. This is the only opportunity that we get to speak to our Rabb. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, الَّذِينَ هُمْ أَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Understand the value of this time. This time we should be focused on speaking to our Rabb with such devotion, with such focus that we have nothing else on our mind. And Allah goes to the extent and says that people of the time of the Prophet, they would perform namaz in such a way that they were just doing the actions. And He called these people hypocrites. We do not want to be on the same boat as these people. When we perform namaz, it should be with khushu and it should be with intention. It shouldn't be to show others that we are performing namaz, and it shouldn't be just to perform namaz. So if the time of namaz comes, oh, I perform namaz, check mark. My duty is done. Rather, it should be taken very seriously that this is my time to speak with my Rabb, and I should do it with the utmost respect, with the utmost adab. The next ayah is الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. Those who show six to others. There are a few ways of forgetting salah. Not performing it sometimes, not performing it in congregation without any valid reason, not performing it regularly, not performing it in the mosque without any valid reason, not performing it on its prescribed time, not performing it in its correct manner, not performing it with devotion, not performing it with careful consideration, and to perform it lazy or in an indifferent way. These are all times when we deviate from the way salah should be performed. For this reason, the ulama, they say it is forbidden to perform salah by folding the sleeves, placing a handkerchief over the head or shoulder, or leaving the shoulder buttons open, as this is a sign of laziness and indifference. It should be remembered that salah is the worship of Allah Almighty, a pillar of Islam, and a means of obtaining reward for the performer. It is linked in three ways: linked to Allah Almighty, to the subservience of Islam, and to the person. It is a form of meditation that we do on a daily basis that allows us to speak to our Rabb. So when we perform it, we shouldn't be doing it in a lazy manner. We should be dressed the correct way. Our wudu should be done perfectly. All these aspects that go into performing salah, we have to do it in a very active way. It cannot be lazy. The surah continues and it concludes with وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ, and refuse to give daily articles of use to the needy ones. This refers back to the beginning, where we spoke about the wealthy people who were passing away and they had children that they left behind, and people would go to these people and say, entrust your child upon me. This ayah is referring to those people. It means hypocrites do not perform those acts of worship for the sole pleasure of Almighty Allah, but to show people. That is why they will perform their salah in front of people, but not when they are alone. It should be remembered that in ostentation, there are two things worth considering. To whom are you showing the purpose for showing? To do good deeds in order to show the Holy Prophet ﷺ is not showing off. It is by pleasing the Holy Prophet ﷺ that good deeds are increasingly accepted. Almighty Allah, He says, and regard what they spend as approaches to Allah and a means of taking blessings from the Messenger. It is further stated that Allah and His Messenger had a greater right that they should please Him. It is for this reason that the noble companions would perform their acts of worship with the intention of pleasing the Prophet ﷺ. The Holy Prophet ﷺ performed tawaf on a camel. To perform an action publicly for the purpose of creating a desire in others is inducement, not showing off. To perform a deed openly for the purpose of clearing an accusation is not showing off. To perform the obligatory duties openly, but the general optional actions should be done privately. These are all conditions that state that we shouldn't be confused. We're allowed to perform namaz, we're allowed to pray, we're allowed to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala openly in front of others. But we can't do it with the intention of showing off or to show others that I'm doing this. That is all this ayah is saying. Similarly, when I said that this ayah refers to those that went to the people on their deathbed and took their children upon as their entrustments, these people also did it to show off. These people said, I am taking this person's child and I will raise it as my own. But in reality, all they did was take their wealth. This was also a form of showing off. There are a lot of ways that people can be confused between showing off and doing an action in public. As long as the intention for the action is not to show off, we are 100% allowed to perform our namaz, our salah, our duroods in front of each other. May Allah protect us from all evil. May Allah guide us and keep us on the true path of Islam. May Allah have mercy upon all of us and forgive all our sins. May Allah accept our fasts and all of our ibadah during this holy month. And may Allah make this Ramadan a beneficial one for us all. أما علينا إلا البلاغ والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.